Hey team, today I'd like to chat with you a little bit about time blocking. So if you've ever heard of this practice, you know how effective it can be at helping you maximize your day and just, yeah, to help keep track of where your time is going. So just real quickly, I want to give a brief definition. So time blocking is basically just reserving a part of your day for a particular task. A lot of people use Google Calendar. On this page here, the example there is of a Google Calendar. So you can see from 8:30 to 10, this person has blocked out a guest posting. And then from 11 to 12, they have their daily workout plan there. Google Calendar is great because you can set different colors for different tasks. So you'll see there the guest post is in purple or blue, and then the exercise is in green. So you can determine green maybe is personal tasks and blue is work tasks. So it can be really helpful as you block your day out. Some really awesome benefits of time blocking are listed here. So just want to walk through those with you. The first there is mental preparedness. So if you block out your day, then you are mentally prepared for each task that will be coming up. So, if it's a complicated task or if it's one that's outside your comfort zone, if you block out a particular time in the future, then you give yourself a chance to really prepare for that task. Another benefit is that by blocking out a time, you're really giving yourself a chance to focus on one thing at a time. So rather than worrying about future tasks or something else that might be going on, you really give yourself a chance to say, nope, this is the time that I've set aside, and I really need to focus on what I've got right in front of me here. In addition, you can improve your productivity. Again, if you're focused on one task, then you're going to more likely to complete that because your mind is completely focused on one idea, just one task rather than multiple things at one time. Again, by focusing on one thing at a time, you're giving yourself, your brain a chance to free itself up from all the different things that may be there. You can check off those mental to-dos and focus on one task at a time, giving you less stress and keeping you from being overwhelmed by things that may need to be done. Time blocking is a pretty simple process. There's just a few steps to do this. Like I mentioned, Google Calendar can be a great way to time block your day. Very simply, the first thing you need to do is just find my task name. The more specific you can be, the better. So rather than just saying create a video for the training, the realtor training, perhaps say create a video for realtor training on time blocking. And then once you determine the name, then go ahead and decide when you're going to complete that task. So from 10 to 11 o'clock on Thursday, I'm going to complete the video. Decide where you're going to do it. I know it sounds kind of silly, but a place can help you be more effective. So if I know that I need to do a video, doing it in the middle of the office is not going to be the most effective way to complete that task. So decide on a location and then go ahead and mark that when you set the event up, and include as much information as you can. So like I said before, be specific. It'll help you know where to start when you begin a task, and it will help you complete the task more quickly. And then finally, go ahead and set reminders. If I'm working on this video and then I get a reminder that says, oh, hey, you have an appointment, it will help me change my direction. So check off that video and move on then to the appointment, giving myself a chance to focus better on that task. There's an example there of how to set up a time block in Gmail or Google Calendar. So you can see here's the name, and then there's the date and time, and then you can change it to repeat. It could be an all-day event. There's a place to note where you're going to complete the task, and then a description of the task. Like I mentioned before, too, you can assign a color. So if this is a work event, perhaps I put that in yellow rather than blue, which would be for personal tasks. There are a few things that you can do to really make time blocking the most effective for you and for your business. So one thing you can do is decide where you're going to complete a task. Like I mentioned before, it seems kind of silly, but the less distracted you are, the better off you'll be. So if you're doing something that really takes all of your attention, then find a real quiet place to work. If it's a meeting, find a place that will allow the person that you're meeting to really open up. Maybe it's a place, a coffee shop where there's a little bit of noise so that they're comfortable talking, but it's not so much that they feel drowned out. Another thing you can do is decide when. So timing really does matter. If I know that I'm most effective in the morning, if I am most productive from 9 to lunchtime at noon, then I'm going to do the things that I know take the most of my attention first thing in the morning. I'm not going to schedule appointments right away and then know that after lunch I'll be much more distracted and have to try and focus in on things that take all my attention. I just won't be as effective. So rather than doing that to myself, flip-flop and do my appointments in the afternoon where, I tend to be a little more sleepy after lunch, for example. So if I'm out running around, meeting clients and in conversation with people, I'll be much more effective than if I did that in the morning when I'm a little more groggy or, haven't quite, not quite on top of my game yet, haven't had my morning coffee. Again, if you can set a consistent day and time to complete a task, that will help you too with that mental preparedness that we talked about before. My brain knows every Tuesday I'm going to call all of my past clients, then that will help me to know that, okay, brain, it's time to call the clients, get in gear, get your scripts atop of mind. So keep that in mind as you begin to time block as well. Choosing a consistent time block can be really helpful for you and your effectiveness. So we talked about earlier, making your calendar entries detailed is so helpful. It helps you stay on task, and it keeps you from that wasted time where you're trying to figure out what needs to be done and how you're going to complete a task. Something else that can be really helpful is to let other people access your calendar. I know through Google you can do this really easily. You just share a calendar, and you can determine who you want to share it with. So maybe there's another person in the office who really helps hold you accountable. It can be so helpful to have that accountability to keep you on task. Also, it can keep people from distracting you as well. So if I have a time block in my calendar for a video, then I know that no one's going to come in and interrupt me during that time. Using a timer can be really helpful as well. So, it's as humans, it's really easy to get engrossed in a task. So if I'm working on this video and I'm editing away, and then all of a sudden it's time to move on, and I don't know, then I'm gonna just miss something, or I won't be as effective. I'll have less time to do the next task. By using a timer or some kind of reminder, it can really help you with your productivity. Just a quick reminder that, oh, it's time to stop editing my video and move on to my meeting with a client. So use that timer, find a way to trigger your mind to move on from task to task. Another thing that can be really helpful is to block your time right away. So there's this law that's called Parkinson's Law that says work expands to fill the time available for its completion. So, simply that just means that if I have a 2-hour task in a week to complete it, then I'm going to take the whole week most likely. So whether that's because I, procrastinate, or because I've decided that I'm going to do little bits at a time, it still takes me much longer to complete a task than if I would have just gone into my calendar right away and said, I'm going to block 2 hours to complete this task on Wednesday, so I can check it off my mind, I don't have to think about it, and I know it will be done on Wednesday. Using this principle called the Pareto principle for defining tasks is really helpful too. So the Pareto principle is known as the 80-20 rule. It just says that 20% of the tasks that you do are more important than the other 80. So if you can put those 20% tasks at the top of your mind, really block for those, then you'll be much more effective, and you'll get the most important things done faster, and you'll be able to accomplish your goals much more quickly. I know it seems kind of silly, but another thing that can be really important is taking breaks. So if you have a 3-hour task to complete, instead of working for 3 hours straight, maybe allow yourself 5-minute breaks every 20 minutes or so. I've heard a great example of this from this story about 2 woodcutters, and the story is just that there's 2 woodcutters, they're working on the same day right next to each other, and one guy is chopping away, and about every hour he takes a quick break, 5-10 minute break, and the other woodcutter doesn't. And so at the end of the day, they're kind of looking at each other's piles, comparing. The one who took the breaks had much more wood than the other woodcutter, and so out of jealousy or frustration, the one who didn't take breaks asks the other who did how he managed to cut more wood. And the woodcutter who took the break says, well, every time I took a break, I was sharpening my axe. So just keep that in mind. A sharp axe cuts so much more quickly than a dull axe. So give yourself a chance to take a break, give your mind a rest so that you can refocus and come back to the task re-energized. Hope this is helpful. If you have any questions about how to time block or different processes that you may want to use for this, just let me know. I'm happy to help. Thanks.